Okay. Welcome to SoCal Sports Report's 90th live podcast. I'm John Stellman, along with Vince Morales, Jake Fomansky. We've got a boatload of stuff to talk about, and for you football fans, just calm down, don't get excited. Most of the show will be spent on the season, which kicks off Thursday, our preseason picks, and a look at all the divisions and all the winners, and even a Super Bowl champion for you. But we have to lead off with Tyler Skaggs. They finally came up with an autopsy report that leaves more questions than answered. This thing is spiraling out of control, and it's unbelievable. I mean, I don't know. The guy's taking high-powered drugs, fentanyl, oxycodone. Yeah, and I mean, doesn't he know he's mixing alcohol with it? There were some reports that the drug he was taking was 50 to 100% stronger than morphine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how bad could his pain be? Where were these drugs coming from? Didn't he know what he was doing? Is he just a rookie that's done this for the first time? Or did anybody explain to him what he was putting in his body, and especially mixing it with alcohol? That's inexcusable.
Yeah, no, this whole situation right now is going to get real ugly, I feel like, for the Angels. I think because the Skaggs family and the Angels both lawyered up. So I feel like someone's got to know something more. Doctors, players. I've heard rumors that there was players that were with him that night, hanging out. So I don't know. I think, it's sad. We're never really going to know the real truth about it. But I think for the Angels and how this season, I think this is probably the Angels have basically hit rock bottom in this organization. I think this is, it's sad, but I mean, hopefully we find something and put it to rest. But I mean, there's a lot of people in that organization that are probably, scared right now.
I mean, was he on drugs? I mean, his wife would have to know if he was doing drugs. I mean, you can't just do drugs on the road and not at home if you're addicted.
I think that's one of the things that the family's press release tried to quash from the beginning, that he was a high performance athlete who knew how to take care of his body. This is not in keeping with that. And then in the next paragraph, shift the blame to an employee of the organization. And as Jake says, whether that's a teammate or someone from the training staff or a team doctor or somebody else who was supplying those narcotics, that's what they want to get to the bottom of. I think we talked about it when it first happened, that it had the feeling of a guy trying to manage his pain, maybe listening to some of the veterans who say, you need to rest your body and you need to take care of your pain. Take one of these, and go to sleep, and that sort of thing. So it had that feeling from the beginning of a guy who's been through several injuries, who's had some major surgery, right? Who was managing pain and made a mistake. The fentanyl's a catastrophe for the Angels. That is not a prescription drug, but a drug that you can't get at the pharmacy. That's not something you can get a prescription for. That has to be administered by a doctor, right? So that is a nasty, nasty drug. And one of the things that I said when we first started talking about this was, hopefully it isn't like a drug abuse thing, that hopefully it was an accident, kid trying to manage his pain. And hopefully this is something that now the players union and the owners can get together before the next CBA and decide that, we're not going to lose another one because we want to be candy asses about whether or not we're going to get our piss tested. Right. They need to do it. And they need to, or blood or piss, whatever it takes to make sure that there's no opioids and there's nothing even close to what fentanyl is and can do to you. So to me, that's the silver lining out of something that is really just awful and horrific. And just a terrible accident. But if somebody was there and somebody was involved and somebody was supplying that to not just him but to others, the Angels need to clean house and they need to figure it out.
What's he doing? I mean, this happened in the early afternoon. What's he drinking beer as well, or alcohol?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you shouldn't be drinking in the afternoon of a game. I wouldn't suspect. Trout comes out and says he was shocked. Which guy in the PR department wrote that quote for him? I mean, how shocked can you be? I mean, these guys had no idea.
Yeah.
That I realize guys like him. I've traveled with these guys. They get their own suites. They're not roomed together. He's by himself, so he can do whatever he wants without the knowledge of anybody watching him. But still, I mean, where's the common sense here? I mean, where's the common sense?
Well, I don't think. Look, we're acting like it's an isolated incident. The death of a young 27-year-old, high performance athlete is, sort of a rarity. But what he's doing, I'm telling you right now, if they were testing piss and testing blood, you would know that this is a more prevalent thing than just what happened one time in the Angels organization. It's totally more prevalent than that. And again, these guys are, they're drinking a few pops on the day before a game. That's just it. You look, they're grown men. And sometimes the younger ones are maybe bulletproof. So sometimes you have to guard, you have to protect them from themselves. And for me, the players union needs to, they need to swallow this one and say, we're not going to fight extra blood testing and urine testing to test for these drugs. They just can't do it anymore. They try to protect against PEDs. PEDs aren't going to kill you. Opioids are. Fentanyl will.
Yeah.
And it has, and it shouldn't happen again. So that's the first thing that needs to happen. The first thing that needs to happen is the players union needs to come out and say, we need to protect our players against this sort of thing. And one of the ways that we do that is cooperate with Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball to get these guys tested so that they're not managing their pain and self-medicating with things that they shouldn't be.
Do you think this was all related to pain, injury, or maybe he was having marital problems, maybe he was having some other off the field problems that led him to this? It's hard to say, but seems like he's been hurt frequently, and I'm sure he's had other painkillers and other remedies to take care of that pain. I don't understand where he finally who drove him into this alley.
Yeah, no, I mean, with all the injuries he's had, he's had he's had Tommy John, he's had the, not the rotator cuff, but
labrum.
His labrum. It takes one. He started taking it, starts feeling good, starts getting addicted, and then, like Vince said, he kind of starts feeling bulletproof, and stuff like that happens.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, and some of the subtext of what I've read is that from what I've read and what I understand is that in order for you to build up any kind of tolerance at all to fentanyl so that a tiny little bit of it doesn't kill you, you have to be heavily addicted and abusing opioids. So that wasn't the case with Tyler Skaggs. I don't think he was an abuser. I do think this was pain management and completely related to him trying to recuperate, sleep, manage his pain. That's what they say. The more opioids you take, the higher the amount of fentanyl you can take. But it doesn't take much. It is a nasty, gnarly, a fleck of it could kill you. But it should not be in the hands of regular, everyday people. And if there was an employee of the organization, and whether that means a player or a trainer or even a bat boy or a
doctor,
it is. The Skaggs are going to be part owners of that team. It's just, it's something they if it's at that point, they should have known. Somebody had to know.
Yeah, I think they came right out and said they've already hired an attorney.
Yeah.
But then again, how much do you think the wife knows? I mean, I don't know. You know, he was hurt at home too, not just on the road. I mean, could something like this be kept? You know, if you're not, do you have to be addicted, or can you just do this on the road and not do it at home? Is it a habit forming? Do you think the wife knew? Do you think that she's covering something up as well?
No, I don't think the wife knew. I think it was just probably one of those things where, you know, he's around the guys, you know, again, and, you know, he's on the road traveling, you know, because they're with each other 6 months out of the year. They're
Right.
their own families. Then that's where I think it was just kind of, he wasn't doing it at home. He was just kind of abusing it on the road and, you know, at the park.
I wonder if any of the other Angels have indulged in this medication.
I'm certain they
Oh,
have.
I'm sure.
I'm sure they have.
I hope they're smarter.
But you know what the union and the agents will say? That's none of your business. That is none of your business. And it's horse hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I get it. They're trying to protect these guys so that they're, you know, false positives and things of that nature. You know, they're trying to keep these guys in their jobs with salaries, and that's why the union does what they do. But I haven't heard much talk about whether or not this is something. How could this have been missed?
Yeah.
You know, nobody's talking about the resolution or the problem solving to take care of how to catch this. They're just not talking about it. And I don't get it.
I mean, especially, too, when you test for everything else,
Right.
you know.
But how often do they really? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I don't think they're testing for, you know, drugs like that very much.
Right. The thing that we've known for PEDs, it's like, you know, it's supposed to be anonymous, right, and random, right? But they know, right? The teams alert their players.
Yeah.
We've all heard those anecdotes of, you know, it's your time to piss in a cup coming up, so you better be clean, right? So we know that they're complicit in that. All teams are. Is it better? Probably. I think it's part of the reason why baseball will doctor the baseball so that guys don't have to take PEDs. But this isn't quite there. This is a whole other level of performance enhancement that helps you manage pain, get the rest you need for your body to recuperate. It has to be viewed at that same level. It just absolutely does. And if guys are missing 20, 40, 80 games for PEDs, it's got to be similar for drugs. Or they need to get them on a program, right? Like the NFL does, right? Mandatory, you know, drug, you know, abuse.
It's sad. No doubt about it. We should get John to check this out with his sources in Houston. There's been some rumors that Garrett Cole would be open to a free agent offer from the Angels this winter. He hasn't hidden that. He's said that, yes, he would listen. John's got a couple of buddies that are broadcasters down there. He might be able to give us a perspective from the Houston side, but that would be exactly what the Angels need. A top-of-the-rotation guy could slip right in there, and he's a local guy, Orange County. Love to come home. The Angels are going to have money, and he's going to be one of the best arms out there. So,
yeah, no, I mean, we'll see. I think, you know, it's kind of, we'll believe it. You know, I think we'll all believe it when we see it, type thing. Because I know he's a big Yankee fan, and I know the Yankees are going to throw, you know, huge bucks at him because Sabathia's leaving, and they don't know what they're going to do with Severino yet. And so, you know, it'd be great if the Angels could get him. That's the rumors that you're hearing, is they're going to have all this money somehow freed up next year. So, you know, I hope they got to make a push. You know, if you're going to re-sign Epler, extend Epler to 2020, hopefully he's got something up his sleeve and not just pick up a 190 catcher that, you know, the deadline. So
I'm glad they didn't. He had an option which they picked up, but they didn't extend him.
Yeah.
Which I think next year's
next year's for sure make or break for him.
Make or break for him.
It should have already been break time. Look, I'm always the jaded guy, right? I take a jaded look at this sort of thing. If I'm Cole's agent, it's exactly the kind of thing that I would float as a rumor. I want to sign with my hometown team.
Right.
And then you get the hometown team to say, wow, okay, we got a lot of money to spend. So now it's like, okay, all we need is somebody to leak that the Angels are interested to. Now, okay, he would really love to go home. Who else is buying? Who else is in? Bidding starts now. So for this to come out this early, it's like, you poor Angel fans. Why? It's too early to hang on to this life preserver, right? Sure, he's going to be a free agent, but there's other pitchers that are going to be free agents. Yeah. Guys like him should be the target of the Angels, period. It's good that he's a local guy. It's good that there's even a little bit of interest, but you got to take it with a huge grain of salt. Huge. Because they play games. The agents manipulate this sort of thing, and they leak when they feel like it can help them leverage their position.
Would it be a 7 or an 8 year deal? Is that what they're leaking?
I hadn't heard
for
that.
Garrett Cole. I heard it was something, at least.
I'm sure
that's
what he wants.
Yeah,
so that's going to be.
It's hard
scary
to do.
take. Yeah, especially with this free agent class too, and there's gonna be a lot of good free agent pitchers. So it's like if you don't get Garrett Cole, you can go after a Zach Wheeler or a Syndergaard. I mean, there's guys that you can go and get. That's why I hope we don't put all of our chips into the Garrett Cole sweepstakes, because I think we know how this movie's gonna end, and it's not gonna end well.
Right.
That's my take.
Yeah, you say it's not like he's the only fish out there.
Well, no, but I mean, he should absolutely be among the leaders at the top, and for the reasons that you point out, that he's interested or has at least expressed interest, that he's a local guy, and he's a good top of the top of the rotation guy. But you can't rule out others as well. Right. And this is the silly thing, about Dodger fans, right? They put out things like, "Oh God, let somebody else get Cole. Cole doesn't pitch well in the postseason." And it's like, are we that proud, right? Is there that much hubris among the fans that you're going to turn down a guy because he hasn't pitched well historically in the postseason? We've got a Hall of Famer who hasn't thrown well in the postseason overall in general. So don't be silly. Those are the two extremes of the Angel and Dodger fans.
Right. Speaking of the Dodgers, Gavin Lux debuted Tuesday night. Hit the first pitch thrown to him for a single. I mean, that's a great way to start. And
he hit 3 balls hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit 3 balls hard. And the other nonsense out of Roberts and the Dodgers organization was that if Muncy doesn't crack his wrist, Lux might not even have gotten a sniff. Right? He would have just been a caddy and a spectator. They weren't, like we had heard, they weren't intending to bring him up. They were intending to bring him up to watch, but they weren't intending to activate him on the roster until Muncy got the crack in his wrist. And it's almost, look, we don't know for sure, but that was the indication from Robertson from the front office, is that they just weren't going to burn him because it was another lefty bat at second. He was redundant. Let's not, he's going to be here soon enough. Let's bring him up and get him at bats, and so he learns how to be a major leaguer. But that kid's he's ready. I mean, he's ready.
Yeah, he's ready.
He is absolutely ready. He just absolutely smoked AAA pitching. And then those at bats, those hacks that he took. I mean, again, albeit against a not very good Colorado pitcher, right? Is it Lambert? Is that who was throwing? Right? Who's got an ERA close to 8. I mean, so a perfect storm of a kid who was just mashing a AAA, coming in against a guy who probably should be pitching a AAA.
What did he do last night? Did he play last night? I didn't see.
I don't know if Lux played last
I
night.
don't think so.
You guys.
Oh yeah, he did. He led off,
Okay.
but I didn't get to watch the game.
What are your concerns, if any, about Ryu and his last 3 starts? I mean, he was lights out up until what? After that August 11th game, he had a 1.25.
2.5,
Yeah,
something like that.
1.45 ERA, which was the best in the majors. He was in the Cy Young conversation. He was 12 and 2.
Yeah, his command was good, and
What went south?
well, there's a couple of schools of thought that it's just too much work. It's more work than he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
It's a heavy workload for him, and he needs time to recuperate. He had a little time on the injured list, but it's still more innings than he's ever pitched. There's another school of thought, and it said the advanced analytics have shown that those numbers were sort of smoke and mirrors. That some of the advanced analytic numbers were indicating that he was pitching with some luck compared, and there's some good statistics out there that actually show what kind of, where his ERA, adjusted ERA would have been. And it would have been a little closer. It wouldn't have been quite as ridiculous as the 1.45. So that this correction now is a little more in line, bringing his ERA a little more in line with where he should have been pitching, because there was on balls in play. This was the statistic that a buddy of mine showed me, that on balls in play contact, there was a higher batting average against him than against Yu Darvish, and this was before Darvish went on his tear up and Ryu went on his tear down. So even before all of that happened, that there was a higher batting average with contact against Ryu than against Darvish. That's an indication that they're hitting the ball, right?
Yeah.
It's just that he's making a lot of guys miss. But that starts to even out after a few more times through the year. So this is probably a little closer. Now these games are, it's an adjustment, right? It's a correction. There are still some good games to be had from Ryu, but let's pump the brakes on the usage.
Yeah.
Bunch of games. You're almost ready to clinch. It's time to just slow it down on him a little bit.
Lay back a little bit.
Do you think part of it or some of it is Will Smith catching him?
It could be.
Because that was some of the things that I was hearing, that some of the Dodger pitchers don't feel comfortable with Will Smith because this is also a huge workload that he's gone through.
Yeah.
And he might not be on the same page, just from...
It could be. Everything that we know about him defensively is that he's a very good receiver. He's a very good defensive catcher. But he is young, and calling a game is an art. I mean, it's an art and a science, right? And a kid his age may not be there. Look, does it mean I'd rather have Austin Barnes there? Absolutely not. I think Will Smith, some of it, again, it could be just a perfect storm of, there are a lot of games up, right? So other teams are taking good at-bats. You're taking some at-bats off, some innings off as a pitcher. Your catcher is young. It could just be a perfect storm of all of these things. Is it a trend that I want to see going into the postseason? Absolutely not. But I think there are better games to come from Ryu. And some of it may be Smith, but I think things will tighten up. Trust me, I watched some of those games. It's loosey-goosey. I mean, last night, they didn't have a hit through 4 innings against a guy with a 7-point-something ERA. It's like Gonzalez. It's like, how does that happen? That team this good, this many home runs, who takes so many pitches, who grinds so many at bats. How do you have no runs through 4 or 5, however many innings it was last night?
Yeah.
Against somebody as terrible as the Rockies are throwing out there. Boy, they make Bud Black look bad, don't they? That team. I like Bud Black. I think he's a good manager.
He's a good
right?
manager.
I don't know why the Padres let him go. Right? And I look at the Rockies, and it's the absolute worst job for a manager who is like a pitcher, former pitcher, and a pitcher's manager. It's awful.
It's terrible.
Didn't give much to work with.
No.
Not at all.
Well, a lot of the Rockies pitchers never panned out either. I mean, that's all. Some of the guys that are up there, they were supposed to be the dudes coming up when Black arrived there, and they haven't done anything for him since. So, I feel bad for him a little bit in that aspect.
Yeah, he's for a guy that's got the pitching coach background, that's
there's only so much you can do with a juice ball and at altitude, right?
Exactly.
And he was
that pitching staff.
And he was on the Angels front office too at one point.
That's right.
And then we let him go.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
I know the Yankee series was a couple of weeks ago. Is there anything to take away from that, or?
No, I mean I think people overreacted to that. Look, again, big lead for the Dodgers. I had said probably just the week before that I didn't think it was a critical series for home field advantage. There was still a lot of games left, and I mean certainly you don't want to get swept, but they scratched out one game. They didn't lose too much ground, but there were a lot of games. I mean they've won the series against Colorado, so now they've won 2 of the last 5. So they've lost 3 of the last 5 series, right? So they had a sweep. They could sweep the Rockies, but they've lost. They lost 3 to Arizona, and they lost 2 here and 2 there. But there are some ups and downs and things that aren't looking great. They've given up the relievers continue to give up home runs, but the Yankee series specifically didn't scare me. That's a scary lineup, and those are some scary pitchers, but I'll face CC Sabathia any day. I'll take my team against CC Sabathia in a short series.
Yeah, that's for sure. He's not gonna.
No,
he's not lighting it up like he used to.
No,
I think he went on the IL again, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our NFL preview. John sent his picks. Didn't quite go as deep as I did, but that's okay. What do you guys want to? We'll just pick the division winners and the wild cards and the division games and the championship games and the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's all?
That's all. We got a few minutes left.
Okay.
I just heard coming in that Zeke signed. So
yeah,
I may have to change that. I may have to change that position. Where do you want to start? AFC East?
Sure.
Yep.
That's easy. New England.
Yeah.
Anybody not taking it? Even John, shockingly, even John is taking the Pats. I think that's pretty.
And even though the Bills might have a sneaky good defense this year, it's still the Patriots.
Yeah, I think so. As long as
I think the Jets win a few games. Miami's dreadful.
Oh man, that's terrible.
They might not be as bad as people are making them out to be. Buffalo might be a little bit better, but
there's nobody to challenge really in that division.
No,
not
that's
yet.
They could play 500 ball and probably still win the division.
Mm-hmm.
The AFC North.
Are you keeping track of our picks?
That's John's job.
Maybe he's not here.
I don't have a pen. I'm gonna have to listen to.
Yeah, you might have to listen to the podcast. Here, I'll borrow my pen. Since you have a paper and you're keeping track over there. Are we on the
Patriots.
AFC North or
AFC.
on AFC South? Where are we?
AFC
North.
North. AFC North.
Okay. This is interesting to me. Who do you like? I mean, the sexy pick obviously is Cleveland.
Is Cleveland, but I still think Pittsburgh's going to win that division.
AFC North, I got.
We know it's not going to be Cincinnati. We can throw Cincinnati.
Baltimore, Lamar. I'm not still sold on him.
Yeah, but if he has a breakout season, you never know. I don't think Baltimore is going to win the division.
No,
but we might see a wild card out of them. But I always run into a problem of selling early on old quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be probably will do that again with Pittsburgh, right? And probably I'll probably say Cleveland. I think I'm going to say Cleveland just because old guy breaks down. But I've said that before about guys like Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady, and then they just go out and they show me up. I'm going to go Cleveland though.
What about you, Jake?
I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
I've got Pittsburgh, and so does John. Okay, South.
All of a sudden, right, without luck,
Okay.
that becomes a coin toss, right? I mean, is there anybody here that would have picked anybody other than Indianapolis?
I like Jacksonville.
Okay, yeah, their defense is lights out, right?
Has John been out of touch? Does he not know that Luck is retired?
I hope so.
John's got the Colts.
Still, I mean, it's a sexy pick. But, yeah, no, I like Jacksonville. I think the receiving core is really deep this year. Their defense is lights out, like Vince said.
Yeah.
That division's going to be a 7 or 9 win.
What do you have, any?
No, I've got Jacksonville as well. I would not have picked Jacksonville if Luck hadn't retired.
I've got. I took the Texans. I want to shake things up here a little bit, so we'll go with the Texans. Better get me on here. How about the West?
I'm the Chiefs. For me, it's the Chiefs. And I would love for it to be the Chargers, but I don't think it's going to happen. Russell Okung out with blood clots. The Gordon thing not resolved. Is it right? They haven't signed him yet, have
No,
they?
they said they're
So
stopped.
to me, too many things.
Derwin James out.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Too many issues.
I can't believe they offered him. They offered him $10 million, which is almost double his contract. I mean,
You wanted 12 or 13, right?
can't hit the middle somewhere.
So now they're trying to trade him, and it depends on
They already,
what happens there. But the Okung injury to me is a big deal.
And the Chargers already turned down a trade this morning for him.
Really?
It's flop Jordan Howard, Philly with a couple picks, and they said no, which I don't blame them. I wanted the Chargers, but I think you got to go with Kansas City. But Denver could be sneaky this year because I think with Vic Fangio as their head coach now, defensive mind guy, don't be surprised if Denver makes a little run there. But Kansas City's late.
You guys watch any of the HBO
Hard
Knocks?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. You get fired up about teams that you watch on there, and you think, okay, you maybe get a little betting angle, and then you look at it and you just go, oh my God, 12 rookies,
Yeah.
7 unsigned free agent rookies in that 53 man roster.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's crazy.
And also cutting a guy like Brandon Marshall too late like that, I thought that was a kind of a mistake, especially for linebacker depth like that.
Weird. But a Gruden gets rid of an end rusher, right, and then gets rid of a speedy receiver.
Yeah.
What the hell? What the hell was he thinking? Right? I guess he wanted to rebuild, do his own thing.
Who do you have?
So John and I both took the Chiefs. So
Yep.
I guess that's
Chiefs.
Three of us, all of us, with
All
the
of us
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
unanimous.
Yep.
NFC East. I might have to change my pick here.
I'm Eagles.
Let's see, East. John took the Cowboys. I took the Eagles.
Eagles.
John took the Cowboys. I took the Eagles. And Vikings. Okay. All right. North, NFC North.
I really don't know what to do with this division. Really.
Yeah, it's a bit of a.
I mean, every time again, this might be the time that I don't bet against the old guy. So I went with Cleveland against Roethlisberger, the old guy. Here, I think Rodgers is still a force. I think it's Green Bay. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I have a good feeling about them this year.
Let's see here. I've got NFC North. I've got Green Bay. John has the Vikings.
Okay, Jake.
Chicago Bears. And
The Bears?
And take the Bears at 3.5 tomorrow. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Where is that game? Is it in Green Bay?
In Chicago.
It's in Chicago. And they're getting 3 as a home dog?
Mm-hmm. Something to think about.
Okay.
Vikings, though. That's shocking.
What's that?
That's shocking that John took the Vikings.
John, NFC. Yeah, Vikings.
Because Kirk Cousins didn't look all that great during preseason.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I think that's
Yeah. They got a great receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got South. NFC South.
Oof, this one's tricky.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out. Can anybody explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old why everybody's cold on New Orleans? This is a pretty damn good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All around.
Plus, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder from last year.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think so.
You got a great coach. Quarterback's old, but, doesn't matter.
Yeah, John and I both took New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm on New Orleans.
They're not a sexy pick for whatever reason, but
I mean, who does Carolina have besides McCaffrey?
yeah, and
Tampa's
the problems with Cam's shoulders and his health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't know. You just don't know.
NFC West. Rams.
Seattle has helped themselves quite a bit.
Seattle's done a heck of a job during
Yeah, they've the Clowney move really filled a need, something that they were sorely lacking last year. I'm still going Rams. But don't sleep on Garoppolo either, man. I mean, I think that's still. I think the Niners are still a year away.
Yeah,
and I think they still have some years left where Garoppolo can be very, very good. I just don't think this is the year. Goff signed an extension.
Yeah, gee, Merry Christmas.
Smart though, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think smart, right?
110
You
million guaranteed.
set the market now, right? Rather than have to chase it after Dak and and Mahomes and all these other guys start getting paid, right?
Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How about your wild cards in the AFC? John didn't give us much on these. What do you got?
I'm going to go Pittsburgh. And I did something like this last year. I went with 2 wild cards from the same division. I'm going to go Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Ooh.
My 2 wild cards.
Okay, let's see. John has the Chargers and the Browns. Let's see. What do I got there?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I've got the Chargers and the Steelers.
You didn't pick the Steelers to win the division? Who did you pick to win the division?
I picked
Cleveland.
Did you pick Cleveland too?
Where are we here? I see what happened. Okay, I see what happened here. I've got these game results, and I screwed up the. Yeah, I've got Pittsburgh winning the division.
Okay, so you need to pick a different wild card. So you can have the Chargers because you didn't pick them to win the division.
Yeah, I got the Chargers, and Tennessee. I don't know, Ravens.
You don't like Cleveland?
Cleveland. Yeah, they're in the hunt. I'll take Cleveland. What about Jake?
Chargers and Cleveland.
Okay. NFC wildcards.
I've got Seattle and Dallas.
NFL wildcards. I've got the Rams and Seahawks.
You didn't pick. Who did you
Who's
pick to
winning the
win
division?
the
Wait
West?
a minute, I picked the Rams to win.
So I've got as my wild card Seahawks and the Cowboys.
That's a good one.
Okay. I've got, let's see, what did John have here for that? John's got the Bears and the Niners.
Wow.
You picked the Bears to win the division.
I know, but the nine. I'm gonna go with Cowboys. Cowboys and Green Bay.
For your
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, Green Bay.
I even took the Bears in Vegas too.
Was there? Or do you know what their win totals was?
It was, what was it? Oh, their over-under was 11.5. Took the over. And spoiler alert. But even Vegas has it over too. Vegas had the Cardinals actually win over 6 games at one point. No, it was 13 actually.
I'll take Dallas in there.
Dallas?
I've got Bears over 9 is what I'm showing
Over
on my
9?
odds. Yeah.
Well,
Patriots
it
were at the
was
top
9.
at
Yeah,
11
no,
and
it
a
was
half.
9. That's right, because I remember I made that bet and it would have made no money.
How about the championship game? NFC and AFC championship games.
Well, let's figure out who we've got coming out of the wild card game. Well, I don't know. That's kind of hard to. Do I think a wild card is going to advance? Seahawks, Cowboys. I don't in the NFC. So for me, okay, going back to the AFC, I think it's New England is one of my teams. I don't know. I'm going to say Kansas City. New England, Kansas City rematch.
Okay.
And Kansas City coming out for the Super Bowl.
That's what that's John got. John's got AFC, Chiefs, and Steelers.
Chiefs and Steelers for Adams, huh?
He's got Chiefs over. See, he just picked the championship team. He didn't pick all the wild card teams.
That's fine. I mean,
Chiefs
that's
over
what,
Steelers. That's what he's got for his AFC.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs over the Patriots.
Yeah. What do I have?
Just because, God forbid, I pick Patriots for anything.
What do you got, Jake?
Chiefs and Patriots. Chiefs advancing.
Chiefs over the Patriots?
Mm-hmm.
I got. I went with the home team. I took the Chargers over the Patriots. I want to see Phillip Rivers get that over the Pats. Everybody goes down on the Pats, and every year they come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just going to be the year that they don't. I can't figure out what John's got here though. Chiefs over Steelers. Okay, so he's got the Chiefs in the he's got the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Okay. So how do we do for the Super Bowl?
Well, we still got to pick the NFC, yeah?
Well, that's right. I'm definitely going to have to listen to this show. I got to listen to it anyway, so. So we're going to NFC.
I've got Rams Green Bay in the NFC Championship.
Okay. Okay, NFC Championship. And John has the Saints and the Vikings.
He really likes Kirk Cousins.
Wow.
I've got the Packers and the Saints.
Okay.
Jake?
Jake's got the Bears against the
New
Bears.
Orleans.
They're
Yeah.
going to do a split
That's
squad,
right.
and they're going to play each other, and the Bears are going to beat the Bears.
With Ditka head coaching both teams.
Who would you
Bears
take
and
in a
Saints.
fight between
First
Ditka
half and then the second.
First,
and
yes.
Ditka?
Who do you got?
The Bears in New Orleans.
Okay. And Vinny, you got New Orleans Vikings, right?
No, I do not.
What do
That
you
is
have?
John Adams. I've got
Oh, I'm sorry.
the Rams
and
Packers.
And Green Bay.
That's a good
Gotcha.
one.
Okay, I've got the Packers Saints, and Jake has the Bears New Orleans. Okay, Super Bowl.
Rams Chiefs.
Who wins?
Chiefs. Rams Chiefs. Chiefs with the win. The Rams are going to be like my Dodgers and lose back-to-back titles.
Jake,
Bears, Chiefs.
who wins?
Chicago.
Bears. The Bears,
the
of
Bears.
course. The Bears.
By 200. Actually, no, they won't put up 200. Not with Trubisky.
It'll be a
John-
shutout.
Probably a 6-0 shutout.
John
They'll give up
Adams.
5 yards rushing and 5 yards passing and have 30 sacks.
John has the Chiefs over the Saints. I've got the Packers over the Chargers.
So Rivers gets there, but doesn't.
Oh, it's just sentimental.
Oh.
Not going to happen. We can have wishful thinking. All right. Now we'll save those for.
I need a beer now.
Seriously.
Yeah, really.
I'll start tomorrow.
You need a smoke.
Yeah, I need a smoke.
It's like, hey.
All
you
right.
are all in on the Bears.
I am, man. I'm all in on the Bears.
Ditka out of retirement.
They got a kicker now, so they could win more than 9 games.
Trojans lose
No, senor.
JT.
No, senor. Did you not hear the? Did you hear the Spanish language?
Yeah.
Broadcasted.
Yeah.
No, senor. Oh, that was the best. The best thing I'd heard all year. It was
that?
absolutely fantastic. When the Bears doinked it.
Double doinked it against Philly last year. It was the Spanish broadcast.
It was a Spanish language broadcast.
It was hard.
And he called the miss, and it was just, no, senor. No, senor. No, senor. It was fantastic. Sorry, Jake.
No, it's fine.
JT gone for the year.
JT Daniels gone. Very tough for the Trojans. Not a great win. Didn't acquit themselves very well. A lot of the same mistakes that they've made over and over. A bad penalty that nullified a 60-yard kickoff return to start the game. They had 15 plays that were scripted, and they looked great. And then after that, when Daniels was trying to figure things out, he didn't look very good. He didn't look like he had improved much. Nealon from Santa Margarita, the center, blamed himself, said it was a high snap. He didn't pick up the coverage correctly, and he blamed himself for JT Daniels' injury. That's noble of him to do that. It wasn't a great snap. It wasn't perfect. JT Daniels didn't pick up that blitz, and that's pretty normal for JT Daniels. And at this point in the season, yeah, those kinds of mistakes happen, but it cost the kid his season. But to me, it was an indication that JT Daniels, barely won the starting spot.
Right.
And then the other thing is that, and then Sears enters the transfer portal. He graduates in December. To me, it felt like they looked around and it was sort of a business decision. They said, look, Sears isn't going to be the starting guy. He's going to graduate in December. He's probably going to, he's got eligibility left. We've got Bryce Young coming in from Mater Dei next year. Do we really have a place for Sears? If he's not number 1, he's 4th. And I think that was the thinking, that if he's not number 1, he can't be 2 or 3. And they dropped him all the way to 4th on the list just because it sort of helped tip the hand for him. Was it a crappy thing to do? Yeah, but he didn't win it outright. I don't think there are plenty of people in San Clemente, plenty of people who are SC fans who think they know what they saw during practices. And all of the people who get paid for a living to watch those games did not assess Sears the same way. He didn't win it outright. If he had won it outright, I'd be outraged. But he didn't win it outright, and to me, then it just felt like, is he the number 4 guy on that roster depth chart? Absolutely not. But it makes sense that the business decision to sort of allow him to go, to cut him loose, seemed like the right thing to do. I don't agree with it, but it feels like they said, look, he's not number 1. So if he's not number 1, he's last because he's going to be gone in December anyway. Why invest any time? Why give him any snaps? And it just feels like they figured that they could go with somebody else. They didn't know they were going to lose their guy in the first,
right.
And Keaton Slovis, the thing that pains me is that, here we go again, with another freshman quarterback.
Right.
And even next year, it might be another first-year freshman quarterback that we're handing the reins to. And my wish is that it's not Helton to helmet. And I saw a lot of the same type of knuckleheaded hubris out of the offensive coordinator position that I saw with T. Martin, who I absolutely think is stupid. And I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah.
But Graham Harrell made calls like an idiot. So you got an 18-point lead. It's the end of the third quarter. You've got the ball. Everything's in your favor, and you dial up a long pass. Don't even give that first-year freshman a chance to throw that. He had made a big play on a looping throw with no safety over there to get close and get and eventually going for the touchdown. He makes a poor decision on the other end where the safety's coming over, and now it's an interception. Then Fresno State has a big pass play and get it down into the Trojan zone even before the third quarter runs out. A smart offensive coordinator says, I don't care about the air raid. I've got a freshman quarterback. We're going to run the crap out of this,
right.
Kill the clock, take the momentum, light that torch, and go into the fourth quarter with an 18-point lead. And Graham Harrell didn't do that. Oh. And that's stupid, right? And then he's gotten them down 4.5 minutes to go in the game, and they're snapping the ball with 15, 20, 14, 10 seconds left on the clock, and they're giving it back to a team that's 8 points down. Stupid. And again, he's going to defend it and say, look, we got a freshman quarterback, and we're just trying to go in rhythm. We're trying to catch the defense off guard. It's like, nonsense. That's nonsense. Hold on to the call.
Yeah.
Let him look at the sideline, and you don't say a damn word until there's 12 seconds left. Then you relay it to the guy, you give the hand signals, and you have him snap it at 5, 4, or 3 seconds. You're in charge up there.
Right.
Don't give the play call until the clock is run down. And it gave him a full 2 minutes. At least.
Was that the fourth
at
and
least.
two? At the 50?
Then the fourth
yeah.
down, they called the timeout. High leverage situation.
Oh, this was bad.
Kick the ball. Ball. That was Helton. That wasn't Harrell. But the fourth and 2, zone read on 4th and 2 with a freshman. He mishandled the ball, couldn't get it. They secure it. Stupid, absolutely stupid. And only a fantastic play in the end zone saves their bacon.
Yeah,
stupid. A lot of stupid things. This is going to be a long year for the Trojans. This looks like a 5-win team, tops. They're favored against Stanford because Costello is likely not going to play that game. I take Stanford plus 3.5. Take them all day long.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I saw that spread. But who's their backup guy?
Keaton Slovis.
No, I mean Stanford.
Oh, Stanford beats me.
Because
no idea. None whatsoever.
Must be not very good if USC's favored.
Well, Stanford was going to. Stanford's having a down year anyway. I mean, you know, the prognosticators kind of put them down. But I didn't see a lot of great things on defense from the Trojans. You know, they've got great receivers, but all you got to do is dial up pressure against this freshman.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it. And if you've got the skill players and you got a good coach, right? This is the recipe for disaster. This has 4 turnovers, 6 sacks written all over it for me.
I never thought I'd see the day when Vinny would want T. Martin back.
No, I don't want T. Martin back.
No.
That I do not want that.
No.
And I don't even know if T. Martin landed anywhere, frankly. I think Graham Harrell could be at some point a good coach, but you can emulate the offense of Mike Leach, but don't be an arrogant SOB like Mike Leach. You know, it's just hubris. It's like, we're USC, you're Fresno State, we run an air raid, I'm snapping the ball with 15 seconds on the clock with 4 minutes in the clock running. Make Tedford burn those timeouts. Yeah. He didn't do it. It's just stupid. Yeah. It's just stupid.
Well, it's so obvious.
And look, you know, there are plenty of fans who tell me, including my friends, who say, you don't know more than they do. And it's like, I watched enough football to know that when you have an 8-point lead, it's a one score
Possession.
game. You're trying to burn the clock.
Yeah, makes sense.
Burn the clock. Because trust me, get that kid's heart rate down.
Yeah.
Get that kid's heart rate down. Get it down, let him stand there and look at the sideline and wait for the call. And he didn't do it. And then they put all the weight on his shoulders to try and get the 4th and 2 on a zone read.
At the 50, too.
Yeah, midfield.
That was
at midfield.
Yeah. Even the announcers that were broadcasting were like, what are they doing?
It was weird. It was weird. And then all the things you heard about this Australian punter, right? Oh, he's booming him. He's booming him. He's booming him. He averaged 40 yards. Again, I hate kickers. I hate them. I hate having to rely on kickers. But sometimes they can be the MVPs of a game. And our punter against Fresno State put them. I'm surprised they didn't get more points off of the field position. He had a 38-yarder, he had a 40-yarder, and I think he hit another 36-yarder. This is the guy that was supposed to be this big Australian rugby kicker who can kick it 70 yards. He didn't come close. He didn't come close. They didn't return them.
Right.
But they were 38-yard punts.
Yeah, that's.
And it's like, and then there are times when, you know, there's the Jake in me that says, this is USC, right? The way you would say, this is Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I was on Monday.
You can't get 12 walk-on kickers,
It's true.
you know, to come on and kick the ball 45 yards.
That's right. Yeah, that's not.
And if I saw Ian Book's face pop up another time in the little corner of my, oh my God, they really promoted.
Oh,
the
I
hell
know.
out of
Seriously, I know. I was like
ready
you.
I was ready to.
Seriously. Yeah, I was sick of watching Ian Ball falling on the ground on Monday night, so it's a whole nother conversation. No, but I think the one thing, though, that, I mean, it's hard for me to root for USC, but watching, you know, how USC started that first half and just seeing how Fresno State just looked, they were just young and they just were, you know, just not, it felt like they just weren't mature and organized for ready for that game. And I just felt like, you know, once kind of USC kind of got that lead, I'm like, okay, this might be a blowout. And then all of a sudden you're kind of flipping back and forth and you're like, why is Fresno State still hanging around?
Right.
And then you watch their plays and you're like, I didn't think it was the defense. I thought USC's defense was okay. But I felt like the offensive play calling was just, it was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, the Trojans did a Trojan defense, and the kind of talent that they have did what they needed to do against, you know, a mid-major with a quarterback who's never started a college game,
yeah.
right? You know, when I think of Downey, I think of tamales and Mexican food. I don't think of quarterbacks. No. Certainly not Division I quarterbacks.
Right.
No.
So, and the kid was, I mean, he didn't even complete 50% of his passes. He was inaccurate, but he still made a couple of big plays. And, you know, that was the whole thing with that whole scripted, the 15 scripted plays. Tedford just said, we're going to play back and you're not going to beat us on anything deep. And that was like the Pete Carroll thing. It was always like, let him 5-yard dink and dunk, 5-yard dink and dunk. Then we'll dial up pressure and we'll take the ball. And Tedford, who has always been a very good defensive coach, Pac-12 coach, you know, has given the Trojans fits at times when he was with Cal, just sat back. And I don't think he wanted to be down 14. That's not where he wanted to be, but he knew that they could settle in and that he would make an adjustment. And he made an adjustment right in the middle of that game when the decision-making was put back in the hands of JT Daniels, and Tedford could adjust and make adjustments, and he took away the little dink and dunks. JT Daniels didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And it showed. Threw a pick in the end zone and then turned the ball over when he got hurt. And from what I saw, I think Keaton Slovis will be tolerable and good enough on those scripted plays. It's what he does afterwards, right, where I don't think he's going to be as good as JT Daniels would, but Daniels didn't look very good after those 15 scripted plays either.
Yeah.
So
got to talk a little bit about
you going to talk about UCLA? Because I love talking about UCLA.
Yikes.
I love it. I love it.
Cincinnati again. This is a repeat.
Again, the same, you know, the same fans who thought, you know, he was going to have back-to-back 10-win seasons. It's like, have you seen where the recruiting his recruiting classes have gone? He doesn't recruit. He doesn't like to recruit.
hates it.
It's not his thing. We saw what happened in the pros when they figured him out.
Yeah.
This game has passed him by. And look, they're likely going to their bowl game is going to be a win against the Trojans, right? They're a 5-win team like the Trojans, maybe tops, right?
Yeah.
Their bowl win's going to be against the Trojans, and UCLA fans are going to be excited, and they're going to go, it's going to be this year. And they've been awful, and their talent has been awful. And I don't know what they were what anybody was expecting on the road with a guy who's been playing quarterback for 3 years in his whole life, right?
Yep.
DTR, and without Kelly, Joshua Kelly, and a bunch of other guys. But even those guys, they're not that good.
No.
They're not that good. Like, give me a minute to pull something up. But it's about their... Okay. So during Kelly's first full recruiting cycle in 2018, the Bruins ranked 19th, but only landed one player ranked in the top 150 nationally.
Wow.
Things got worse in 2019, as the Bruins class finished 40th nationally and featured just one player ranked in the top 400. That's not a typo. They got one player in the top 400. Where's your Messiah now?
Exactly.
Bruins. To me, it's crazy. It's crazy, and it wouldn't be tolerated at any blue blood program.
No.
The way the Bruins think that they're a legacy blue blood football program, and they've done nothing to indicate that they are. Never.
Yeah, it all starts with the recruits. If you can't get, you got to be able to bring in some players that can do the job for you. I mean, it's pathetic.
It's bad, and
400.
For Bruin fans to want to force a guy out to get like a big guy out, they're going to want to force Kelly out to get like the Urban Meyer guy,
Right.
and it's just going to keep going up the ladder. And as long as you can get somebody to recruit, then maybe. But Chip Kelly is not doing that.
No.
He's not doing that, and the numbers show you. And some of those things are flawed. I get it, right? It's like it's hard to evaluate talent, but the more that people do it, right, and the more that people evaluate high school players, the closer they zero in on getting it right.
I think, yeah.
So the more guys doing it, the more consensus you have.
Well, their recruiting class was even worse this year than last year.
That's right.
That's his second
And
year.
and one player in the top 400.
That's
You tell me what Notre Dame fans would think about Brian Kelly.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be good.
If that happened.
string him
Right.
up.
Oh,
Because they're ready to string him up when he gets top 10 classes
Yeah.
and doesn't win 12 games, right?
Yeah. Oh, he'd be gone in a heartbeat, in a second if that happened. But it's another. I mean,
And there's no difference academically,
no,
right?
It's
Right,
basically
right.
the same. I just think it's with Brian Kelly. That's one good thing though, is he does recruit. I just think a lot of Notre Dame fans are just tired of it's the same thing every single year. It's the dual quarterback. That's the other thing too. I mean, Ian Book, if I'm him, I'm looking over my shoulder because they're probably going to put the backup in, the Jervich kid, because that's Kelly's thing, is he likes to have that dual threat. So that's I think Notre Dame fans, that's one of the biggest things. It's just not the recruiting aspect, because he has done a good job with some of the receivers and the offensive linemen he's been able to bring in, but
Right.
it's the mind games, I think, that people are getting kind of sick of. And I think not showing up for the big game, not getting his teams ready for those big games. Because Louisville, that was Louisville's national championship game on Monday. And it was basically like watching a, normal Saturday afternoon, Notre Dame, first half.
Right.
And so the Bruins need to beat San Diego State.
And that game's in Pasadena, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But that's a tough game.
That might not be an easy game. Yeah.
And then if they can't beat the Aztecs, it's a hard road to hoe, right? Because they'll get Costello will likely be back by the time they get him, and yeah, to me it just feels like tough sledding. So it's the Aztecs and then the Sooners,
Jeez.
right? That could be like a
Very,
boat race.
very ugly.
Yeah, I've got, so they've got Oklahoma, and then it's Washington State. There's no let up, right? Arizona's beatable, Oregon State's beatable, and then they're on the road to Stanford. I don't know.
It's be close to a 5-win team.
Like they both might be 5-win teams.
Tops.
Tops, yeah.
Any comments on Dwight Howard and DeMarcus Cousins? I know you were never excited about the prospects of signing Dwight Howard.
No, he's a clown. He's a clown. And again, I told you, Arash Markazi, said that, he did the Lakers a favor. We talked about that, right? It's like, you know what,
Right.
There's no reason to boo him. And it was like, they weren't booing him because he played poorly or because he didn't, they booed him because he didn't take it seriously. They booed him because after a loss, he'd be joking around in the clubhouse, and Kobe didn't like that shiz, right? That's why Laker fans booed him. And all he has to do is defend at the rim a little,
Right.
score a few points in the pick and roll, and rebound.
Mm-hmm.
We're not asking for 30 minutes out of the guy, right? But for me, it's just an indication of we've got a perfectly good center who just doesn't want to play center.
Right.
But you got to make him happy because he's on a 1-year contract.
That's right.
So Anthony Davis played great in a similar situation when he had to fill in for Boogie Cousins in New Orleans.
Right.
Same situation here, but he's demanding that somebody else play center. So the Lakers have to eat crow and sign Howard. Look, he said today, judge me on my actions. You don't need to listen to any of my words. Critique me on my actions. And I think that that's a mature thing to do. But he's been with 6 teams in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And he's probably said the same thing. I'm more mature. Does he really think he's hit rock bottom? Like he told the Lakers? I don't know. He'll be average. He'll be ordinary. Nobody's gonna, he's gonna miss some shots. He's gonna miss free throws. Somebody's gonna get around him in the post. It's gonna be hard for him to defend the elite centers in the Western Conference. He'll be fine. He won't be great.
Anthony Davis will be happy.
But Anthony Davis will be happy that he doesn't have to give significant minutes at the 5. So.
Nice little domestic violence against DeMarcus.
But
I mean,
again,
he wasn't going to play this year anyway. But still,
No.
I mean, that's not.
no, that's not the look you want.
No.
That's not the stink you want on your uniform,
No.
your organization. You just don't.
Anything else? We are out.
Good night.